Hello, Facebook. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm super excited because today I'm sharing some tips on how to be consistent with your side hustle. And this is something I've never really shared a ton of information online about, but I'm really excited about the opportunity to share with you guys. Hello. Hey, Tiffany girl. For all of those who are just joining, just let me know where you guys are checking in from. And if you are one of the people that has maybe a full-time job and you have an idea that you haven't yet acted on, give me a yes, give me a comment, give me a that's me. And if you maybe had the luxury of quitting your job and walking away from your full-time job, let me know. So regardless of where you're at, let me know if you have an idea for business or in some area that you haven't yet acted on. And while you guys are doing that, I'll go ahead and tell you a little bit about myself. I know I've got a ton of Insta followers who are rather new and probably have never seen me go live. So I'm going to be really coming to you guys to give you more value from a business perspective to help you guys build and grow. And so for me, I actually walked away from my full-time job in 2017. I actually went to school for mechanical engineering and got my bachelor's in that. And then when I was finishing my degree, I realized like, I do not want to do this. And I ended up getting my master's in business within 5 years. And after graduating, I pretty much got the job of my dreams, right? I was working in corporate America, working for a pretty large consulting firm doing digital marketing technology consulting, which sounded so fun and really was amazing because I got the opportunity to travel pretty much all across the country, working for billion-dollar brands, helping them build and grow their audiences, build and grow kind of their touch points with their customers. And that was a really, really cool experience for me. But early on, I figured that that lifestyle just was not for me. And I know we live in the world now where entrepreneurship is so glamorized. But for me, I know I was on the other side of like going to my job every single day, feeling frustrated, feeling like, why do I work here? Feeling like even though the people are cool, the money is great, the benefits are amazing. I was making 6 figures. I was living my best life. But at the end of the day, I in some way felt fulfilled. So let me know for y'all who are watching, because it's always weird. I'm technically in a room alone by myself. So you guys are on the other end of this. So let me know if you've ever felt or got in that position where you're like, okay, I maybe like what I'm doing here, but I know that there's more. Or I maybe, don't like what I'm doing here. And I know that, maybe my potential isn't being realized. And for me, that was like my story. Like I literally knew that this wasn't the life that I was supposed to be living, particularly because I knew I was called to more and I wanted to impact people's lives in a more significant way. I see Trisha says yes. I see Tiffany. She says she walked away from her full-time job 9 years ago. Best decision ever, like point blank period. I'm with you right there. And then V Adams says yes. So I'm totally here for just realizing that now, and I say this all the time, like full-time entrepreneurship is not for everybody. I don't believe that everybody should just jump ship and like quit their full-time job and become an entrepreneur. Like I do not believe that at all. But I do believe that there is a generation of people that God has called to be entrepreneurs, and especially living in, I think sometimes we forget that we're in a time and an era in life where in society where we have access to technology, we still are embarking upon like a lot of African American firsts. Like if we're talking about being Black and entrepreneurs, there's a lot of opportunity where, companies are not necessarily looking to hear what Black people are saying. So we have more of an opportunity to really create those experiences and make a lot of money because we understand our people better than anyone else. And so I know a lot of my audience is Black women and Black people in general, but I think it's really important to know that this is an important time in history where we have the ability to really make a difference and change people's lives. And one of the biggest things that I see with entrepreneurship, where it's glamorized online, is that people are all talking about the money. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. And I promise you, like, yes, entrepreneurship will bring money, right? Like if you do it right, the right way, but it's about more than the money. It's about impacting lives. It's about changing people. And for me, it's about changing the kingdom and building the kingdom. And so I consider myself, and I believe that I am a kingdom entrepreneur. So what that means for me is that when I build and I help other people build businesses, I build businesses that I believe in. I do not build businesses with people that I feel like are fraudulent. I don't build businesses with people that I feel like do not have their end customers' best, interest at heart. That's who I am as an entrepreneur, and that's why I build, is because I believe that it's not like God gave me these gifts to bless other people and to help build other people's lives. So yes, even though money is a byproduct of entrepreneurship, it's not my focus. It's not the end all be all. Yes, being a good entrepreneur will help you to make more money and pay your bills, but I want to change lives. I want to impact lives. I want to really make a difference in the areas that I find need the most, assistance. And a lot of times when you see people, when you see certain issues that kind of are at heart, that you have, like, for example, instead of beating around the bush, I'll say it. So one of the things that is really close to home with me is human trafficking. And so human trafficking is one of the areas where I absolutely love, like, I just love women in general, but human trafficking awareness and helping rescue women out of, sex trafficking is a really, 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 really big thing for me. And I've gone through like human trafficking, like training, helping women, helping to figure out how to help women get out of those spaces. But even for me, when I'm building as an entrepreneur and the businesses that I'm building, part of what I will do in the future will be to fund some of these initiatives for the things that I really care about. And so I just want to admonish you. I hadn't even planned on really talking about this because we're talking about building a side hustle, but just really understanding that entrepreneurship is not just about the money. It's about changing people's lives. It's about helping them and really being invested in what it is that what it is that you're doing in their lives. And it's not just about the money. And even the aspect for me that is about the money is like pouring back into communities that I really care about. I care about Black women in STEM. I am a Black woman in STEM. I have a mechanical engineering degree. And I don't say that to be like on a high horse or anything, but I say that to say that it was a struggle for me to really even be on, sorry, I got distracted because Instagram told me that I have like my limit, and I'm wondering if it's just gonna cut me off because I put time limits on my Instagram thing, but I hope it doesn't cut me off. I'm gonna fix that later. Anywho, but I'm a Black woman in STEM, right? So I studied mechanical engineering, and it was such a struggle to get through and get that degree. I felt like I was failing the whole entire time, but somehow I was still able to be successful and to even graduate with honors. But it felt like a struggle the entire time because I never knew anybody else who studied mechanical engineering that was a Black woman in my family. I didn't have that, and I didn't know what that was like. And so I really love pouring into communities like that because I want other people to see their ability. What engineering did for me, even though I did not, stick in with engineering and stay in for the long run, it taught me that I had the ability to tap into certain things that God had placed on the inside of me that I did not know I had the ability to do. I had no idea I would know how to do freaking quantum physics and like all this crazy stuff that seemed really difficult. But in the long run, it just showed me my ability and what I was able to do by way of the giftings that God had given me. So I say all of that to say that entrepreneurship is not just about you and your money. It's about the lives that you're going to change. It's about the people's lives that you're going to impact. Okay. And so now I want to talk to you guys a little bit about Just understanding how to be consistent with your side hustle. And so why I'm talking about this is because I feel like so many people sit in from the sidelines like, oh my God, how am I going to, you know, I see all these people doing these amazing things. They're launching these amazing businesses, and you really see, you know, really dope things happening, but you're like, how are they doing this? And it's not me. And honestly, they just started before you did, and you are seeing them at a high point, right? So when I always talk about entrepreneurship as a building, because you're always building something. So when you, like, the first thing that needs to be done when you're building a building is to dig and to start in the foundation and to start digging so you can build the foundation. And what is interesting about that analogy or that metaphor or whatever is that imagery, that's the word. What's interesting about that is that when you're digging underground, like, nobody can see you. Like, it's not visible. It doesn't look pretty. It's ugly. It's nasty. You're hitting hard stuff that's in the ground. You're trying to be careful. You're trying to get things right to set the foundation right. And, like, it's messy. Nobody cares about, like, if you see someone digging a hole, like, you're not going to be like, oh my God, wow, that's just so amazing. No, you're not, like, nobody cares about nobody digging a hole. Nobody cares. And that's what entrepreneurship is like, because a lot of these people that you see on Instagram posting, talk about, oh yeah, I made $100,000 this month, like, or whatever ridiculous things you're seeing online. They started somewhere where you didn't see them, where they were grinding, and it was nothing but darkness around them. It was nothing but them building a foundation. They hadn't even started erecting anything. They just started digging. So for entrepreneurship, it's literally that same way. Like, you have to begin digging and going underground and starting to set a foundation for your business, starting to set a foundation for your ideas. And then those same people, as they begin to build and put the blocks together, they put, you know, the frame of the building together. But when you think about a skyscraper, even the tallest skyscraper had to start with digging underground. And then at the end, once you know, like, we all see those buildings that have, like, the little white paper around it that's basically, like, covering it to protect it as they're building. They're being careful as they're building, and then they get it all the way up, and then they put the glass windows on. Like, that's, like, the final touches, like the glass windows, the doors, you know, the structure of everything on the outside. And then you're like, wow, that looks amazing. Did you see the new skyscraper? Oh my God. And as they're building, one of the coolest things about that analogy is that any building that's getting built, before it's done, you always hear people talking about it. They're like, oh my God, you see that? Like, it's going to be so cool. It's going to be so tall. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. And yeah, people are going to start talking as they see you building, but you have to build when nobody's watching. You have to start digging when nobody's watching. So you're wondering, like, why not me? Okay, Instagram gave me my limit, but I was able to keep going. Anywho, but when you're building, you have to start building from ground zero, okay? And that just looks like you taking your talents, your dreams, your aspirations, all these things that you want to do, and doing something with it. Stop looking at what everybody else is doing. Stop trying, because I found myself, that was me. I was in corporate. I was going to my job 9 to 5, sometimes 6 a.m. to like 9 p.m. because that's how they do, okay? So that was me on my job and looking at people and feeling like I was building, but I wasn't like building, like building where I was tunnel vision building. I was building, but looking over here like, oh, why am I not, like, they're doing this and they're being successful, and it's just, what am I doing wrong? Let me tell you what I was doing wrong. I was focused over here when I should have been focused over here, building what God gave me to build, not worrying about what the next person was doing. Because I felt like, man, like, I really want to quit my job. And, you know, all these people, they quit their jobs, they're doing all this stuff. And I had gotten so off track. And I'll pause and say, maybe this content that I'm sharing is not for you, okay? But it may be for someone on your timeline. So I promise you, somebody on your timeline needs to hear this. So if you like what you're hearing, please share it with them, comment their name, because I'm going live on Facebook too. So comment their name or whatever to get them to hear this, because I really feel like this is something that so many people in our generation struggle with, is that they're looking at what other people are doing and it's a highlight reel and you are distracted. Stop getting distracted by what's not meant for you. Stop getting distracted by what's not meant for you. Yes, I'm yelling, okay? So literally, when it comes to you building your business and it comes to the ideas that God has given you, you have to take what God gave you and build with that, not what that other person is doing. If you try to use the things, or one of the big things, people love to look at what other people are doing and mimic what they're doing. You don't even know why they're doing that. You don't even know if it's working for them. They could be sending out emails and getting $0 back. So how dare you comment, you take and copy and paste their email copy and put it in your own stuff? Do you know that they might not even know, they might be testing something out that they don't even know works yet. They may be testing, and you over here stealing something from them. Like, oh, I think this looks really good. Yeah, she said that. It may work. You don't even know why she said that. Maybe she did a test on her customers and figured out that that's how they talk about, their issues. But girl, yes, people do that, child. People be stealing, people copy, people be doing all of that, okay? Yes, they do it, okay? And so what I'm saying is sometimes I think that people do it on accident. That's the other thing. Like I will err on the side of caution and try to be nice, okay? People do it, but they might not be thinking they're doing it on purpose. They'd be like, okay, let me go model this after this. Oh, she said that, I can probably say that and like reword it and redo it. Or let me host a conference and call it this, but oh, let me go see, what is she calling all of her stuff? Like people do that because they're like, I don't know what to do. I have to start from nothing. Everybody has to start from nothing. So let me figure out what the people that are saying they're making money or being successful, whatever they're doing, let me go do what they're doing. But let me tell you why that doesn't work. Number one, you have no idea why they're doing what they're doing. You can't see behind the scenes of their business. You can't see, like most of the time, a single email, I'll just use email for a perfect example. A single email that you may get from someone is like a series of emails for multiple different people. It's like a whole map. So you just took, like imagine taking one, like, let's say, see, you're on, what do you call it? Google Maps, right? And you're trying to go from point A to point Z, right? And that's like you extracting like one like left turn signal. Like it says turn right on State Street. That's like you taking that one direction, expecting to get to where they got, not knowing all the pieces that fit in before and that fit in after. That don't even make sense. I don't know why I'm on this tangent, but I just really feel like we should all stop looking at what other people are doing and build with what God gave us, okay? That's what I believe. Okay, so like I said, my story, I quit corporate after 3 years in. I really just had a vision to build my brand, Epic Fab Girl, which started out as a conference. And no, it didn't start out as a conference. It started out as a blog. And then we turned into doing conferences and in-person events. And now I do speaking across the country. I do a lot of different things. And I also consult women and help them build their brands from nothing to something. I basically help them with the information that I have by way of corporate America, as well as my personal experience with branding. And I basically help them to take their idea and turn it into an actual profitable business. And Elena says, do you quit with a plan or money saved up? Yes, I had a plan. Yes, I had money saved up. That's for a whole nother day. But yes, I made sure that I had money saved up before I just quit, because that would have been dumb. And honestly, like I wish I had saved more money, right? Because like you don't know, like entrepreneurship is not for everybody. It's definitely been a faith walk for me, but I wish I saved more money. But if I didn't leave when God told me to leave, like everything would not have aligned the way it did. But don't just jump ship and think you're going to quit your job, okay? So let me actually get to the point of what we're talking about today, which is how to be consistent building your side hustle. So I was the girl who pretty much was going to my job, sometimes 6 in the morning, sometimes getting off at 7 p.m. at night, and making sure that, you know, in the meantime, between time, I was building my business. Why? Because when was it going to get built, people? How are we going to build it? And I remember specifically because I had a friend at the time who I would just talk about my ideas with them. And then it ended up being like, they built my website. And by way of me just being like, okay, so, you know, this is what I want to do. And, you know, really writing down my ideas, figuring out what the heck I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it, what I wanted to call it. All of that stuff started to come together, but it started from me literally like at the time I worked in consulting. So when you're doing consulting, you're pretty much going to another city Monday through Thursday, flying back home on Thursday, working from home all day Friday. Okay, so what that looked like for me was getting up at 4 a.m. on a flight to go to California or wherever I was going for the day. And I would fly there. I would get to the client site at maybe like 10 a.m. or like 12 p.m. and I would work until like 7 or 8 that night because I came in late. So I would work my full shift. Then at 8 p.m. that night, I would go and I would, you see this right here, notebook. I would go write stuff down, write my ideas down, get really clear on what I wanted to do. And I would just like start to spend time working on it, figuring out, doing my research, figuring out what I should be doing. And then Tuesday would roll around, get up, go to the gym, have a full day at work. Sometimes during my lunch break, I would take an hour to write down my ideas in a notebook and continue. And guess what I would do that same night? I would get on the phone. I would talk to people that I knew could help me. And I would build my business. But it was all stuff that, like, this was back in 2015. It is 2019. It is 2019. This was back in 2015, 2016. I started building when no one was watching. And people are always like, oh, how'd you do this conference? How'd you do this? How'd you do that? Well, I had an idea for it. I was kind of scared as heck to do it. But I just started writing and started going and moving with God. So yes, like I'm literally, abundantly blessed. Send me a DM so that I can respond to your message. Cause I see your thing about conferences and stuff. So send me a DM and I'll make sure I respond to you. Cause I don't want to get off track. I have ADD and I promise if I start talking about one thing, I'm gonna start talking about a whole bunch of different other stuff. Okay. So literally it's really important that when you are building that you should take your time, the time that you do have to actually commit to, you know, building your business on the side or your idea, whether it's a nonprofit, whether it's a blog, whether you want to be an influencer. People, okay, everybody want to be an influencer today, right? But being an influencer takes work, okay? So you got to have a plan for that too. You can't just start posting stuff and be like, oh, L'Oreal, don't you want to give me some free shampoo? It's like, girl, nah. Like you got to get your stuff together before anybody is going to start paying attention to you. Okay, so like I said, I pretty much built when no one was watching for about 1.5 years, and then I quit my job. And then 5 months after quitting my job, I hosted my first conference, and that sold out 2 weeks before the conference. Then I started getting, you know, 4-figure paying clients, which just blew my mind because I was like, wait. Little old me, and it's like, yes, what you have and what God gave you and all this other stuff is valuable to people. Why? Because you started moving with the ideas that you had. So I launched my consulting company, Candace Junée Consulting, started building. I started speaking, getting paid speaking engagements. And I say all of this stuff to say that I wrote the vision a long time ago. Like I did it a long time ago. I didn't just jump in and like become successful. Like, and I'm not even there yet, but I'm just saying I spent time building when nobody was watching, okay? Nobody was watching, nobody, okay? And so I literally want to drill that into your head because like, I think a lot of times we think that the journey to, you know, success and all this other stuff is going to be one way, but it's so different than what you would ever thought. If y'all like what y'all hear me saying, I need a yes, I need a comment, I need a heart. I think on Instagram, y'all can give me the little heart, so y'all better tap the screen or do whatever you got to do. On Facebook, make sure you comment, like, you know, share this on your timeline, whatever you need to do to get this message out, because I really, like, I hate comparison. Because if we're going to talk about it, it's a whole demon. But, like, if we're going to talk about it, like, I cannot stand comparison and really feeling like you're building to impress other people, building like you feel like you should be doing what they're doing. Like, all of that is stressful AF, okay? That's what I'm going to say. It's stressful, okay? All right, so I actually have notes that I'm going to get to, okay? So we're going to talk about that. So the number one thing that you need to do when you're building is to know what it is that you're going to do and focus on that. Like, what is the concept? What is it that you actually want to do? Like, I think a lot of times people are just like, oh my God, I want to do something one day and I just want to be, and it's like, have you ever sat down and wrote out what you wanted to do? Have you ever sat down just to be like, actually, what do I really want with my life? Like, and not just being like, oh, yeah, this is what I want to do, but not giving it any thought. Like, what, like, have you ever spent time, and thank you for all that amazing feedback. Okay, love you. Glad that you guys are inspired, but sit down and get really clear on what it is that you want to do. Like, if you don't know what you want to do, of course you're going to still keep looking at what everybody else is doing and thinking it's okay. And oh my God, I love God and I love the Holy Spirit. Let me tell you why, because I used this analogy of building a building earlier today. But what God does for a lot of us is that he gives us a blueprint, and he gives us the outline of what the building or whatever it is that you're building is supposed to look like. And so for me, God was giving me the blueprint, but he kind of gave me sections of the house or like the thing, but he would give me a blueprint and would show me like what things would look like. And the cool thing about a blueprint is that it doesn't look like the final thing. It looks like a sketch of it, right? But even with that blueprint, when you start building, you want your building to look like what was on the blueprint, right? But when you start looking over here, it's like you're supposed to be building a skyscraper, and here you are building a doggone igloo, because that's what Sally is doing. Skyscraper, igloo. God gave you the blueprint for a skyscraper, and you are building an igloo with ice, because that's what she's doing. I'm gonna need you to get on track and know what exactly you're gonna be building. And so, like, what that requires is you know, getting time. Girl, yes, an igloo. People live in, it's a building. But basically, you really do need to spend time figuring out, okay, what do I want to build? And, you know, asking God, like, okay, what are the things that you gave me? What are the resources that you gave me? What can I do right now and start to build with? And make, like, I think it's so easy to say, like, oh, I see this other person is doing it, so I want to also do that. But I also want to address something else, because I don't want to like shun that experience so much that you think that like doing what someone else is doing is copying or whatever. Like, don't look at what other people are doing and copy them verbatim. But if God did give you an idea that you also see other people doing, don't think that that disqualifies you from doing that thing. If that is the thing that God told you to do, go and build with that thing. So for example, that would have been like me saying, oh, there's already too many women's conferences. Okay, well, God told you to build. Sorry, my mom called me. But if God told you to build your business and in a certain way, and you see other people doing something kind of similar, it doesn't mean that that lane isn't for you. You can just build in that lane, but build the way that God told you to build it, because there's a reason that he told you to build it. He knows so much more than we could ever know. Like, God knows so much more about business, about ourselves, about our who we're going to meet, who is going to invest. Like, you never know. Like, your business could be able to go somewhere where someone else's won't ever go, because of the connections that God is aligning with you. One of the things that I've seen a lot, and I'm addressing this because one of the things that I've seen a lot in business is that there are very wicked people and fraudulent people, like people that look one way on the outside and act a whole nother way, like behind closed doors. There are people that, you know, really do not have any they don't have people's best interest at heart. And that's what I will say. And they're selling stuff that is empty, right? Like, it just, what do y'all do with people? But that's what a lot of people are doing. Apparently my mom isn't having me not answer the phone. Anywho, but basically, there are people that are building, and that's the point exactly, is that they're not necessarily morally doing it in a certain way. So, you know, investors and different people see that. People can see that. Some people buy into it and some people don't. So what I've come across is that when people operate with a certain level of, you know, moral ethics and like all of that stuff, that people want to build with them. So I believe that there is a generation of people, a subset of people that God really wants to deal with from a business perspective, because he can trust their character. And I think a lot of people forget that character is such a big part of building a business. That's why you might be like, okay, God, why hasn't my business taken off yet? Why can't I do this yet? And it's like, maybe he's building your character a little bit more because of where you're going to go. He knows that it'll be so much easier to compromise. It'll be so much easier to compromise and to do the things the way that other people are doing. Audrey Jackson asked a perfect question. She said, should you focus on one thing, or is it okay to multitask? And I will tell you this right now. This is the tough lesson that I'm even learning at this point in my business. A year, my mom is really blowing up my phone. I really hope everything is okay. But yeah, so I really believe that you should focus on one single thing, because even how the Bible says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. It's like, I don't even necessarily think that if you're focusing on two different businesses that you're double-minded, but when you're like, your mind can be split like on two different things. Like, you need your full attention on, like, think about you just need your full attention on whatever it is that you're building, and ask God for clarity for what to start with first. Because even for me, I had so many different ideas of what I wanted to do in business. When I tell you so many ideas, I did not know what I wanted. Like, I knew what I wanted to do, but I did not know where to start. And so God just had me start with Epic Fab Girl. Epic Fab Girl started in 2016. Now it is 2019, and God has me like, well, I branched out last year, but then he has me branching out, doing something completely different this year. But that was always something that I wanted to do. I just didn't know if it was the right timing. So there's a time for everything. There's a time and a season for everything. So you should not start, multitasking before you get a good handle on the very first thing. Okay. So I'm actually getting through my notes because I've just been talking at this point. So number one, know what it is and focus on that. Okay. Know what the concept is and focus on it. Number two is, I had spelled, sorry. Number two is master your time, okay? So, like I said, I was working 9 to 5, coming off work, building my own business. And what that looked like for me was I had to stop watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, How to Get Away with Murder, Scandal, like, all the time that I took, like, hours watching shows or scrolling on Instagram or doing all these other fun things that seems cool at the time, I had to start cutting that stuff out and being like, okay, if I'm really serious about my future, I have to start building and spending time. And, you don't have to do it every season of life, but when you're beginning to build something that is going in a direction that you've never been, you need to have your full attention. And you also need to just, not have excuses, because a lot of times people be like, well, I ain't got no time and I'm not really sure. And it's like, you don't have any time. Okay. What's your favorite TV show? Oh, there's your time. Okay. Let's see. Can you get up an hour earlier? Can you go to sleep an hour later? Like, I'm just saying, like, you got all these, you swear you ain't got no time. Oh, you're going out every Friday night, huh? But you don't have any time. Do you know that I went on was it last year this time? Yes, it actually was. For 6 months, 3 months, I went on a work hibernation. I literally did not spend a dime of my money, unless it was my birthday, because my birthday came around. But I did not spend a dime of my money if it was not an investment in my business, and if it was not Yeah, a necessity from the grocery store, okay? And I just wasn't doing it, okay? The other thing is I said no to everybody's everything unless it was a funeral or a wedding. I don't care if it was a baby shower, bridal shower, whatever it was. I told them, you gonna have to be mad at me up front. I'm not coming. Why? Because I have something I'm building. And some people, I don't even need to explain to you why I'm not coming. I just won't be there, okay? I have something that I'm building and it requires my attention. So some Friday nights, it would be 7 o'clock, get off work, be working my business, working on my ideas, working on my conference, figuring out how to negotiate, figuring out all these other things. So know what you're doing, get clear on it, master your time. And as a part of that, like mastering your time, or no, number 3 is to write down some goals. So set goals for yourself. What do you want to accomplish by XYZ point of time? Like, what do you, and keep track of it. Because I literally, y'all, I just came across something that I wrote like a year ago talking about like, y'all, it was just so bananas, and I can't wait to share it once like my life actually changes to that point. But like I wrote down goals for what I want my life to look like 5 years from now, you know, 3 years from now when I hit certain points in my life and in my business. And it took me writing that stuff down to say, wow, like I am really progressing along this path in a significant way. And, you know, a lot of times if you don't set goals for yourself, like you won't, you know, like, okay, let's say this, you're here and you want to get here, right? You set a goal for yourself to get all the way here. Maybe if you get all the way here and you don't meet that goal, even though you set the goal, you still made this much progress. Versus not ever setting a goal and being like, okay, I guess I'll do a little bit more. It's so important to set goals, not just for your personal life, because people love to be like, okay, I want to lose 25 pounds by blah, blah, blah date. It's like, set goals for your business. Set goals for your finances. How much money do you want to have saved? How do you want your business to impact the lives of other people? So set goals, and not even just financial goals. Okay, by the end of the year or by the summertime, I want to have launched my website. I want to have, you know, my Instagram content ready for the year, or like whatever it is that your goal is. Writing those things down and helping you to work against it so that when you do have free time, you know what to focus on, okay? Number 4 is accountability. Like this is huge, okay? Accountability is really, really huge. One of the things that I do is that with my goals, I literally have, like, I have 2 different girls that I work with that we just share each other's goals at the beginning of every week, and we're checking in. We're like, okay, this is what I did this week. This is what worked. This is what didn't. This is how I, you know, this is how much money I made. This is how I should shift my goals. This is what, like, literally being so on top of it. And I think with your side hustle, you always need someone to, you know, walk you through that process and walk you through that journey. And you always need someone to kind of just help you, you know, stay on track, because a lot of times if it's just up to you, you know, you might not do it. Okay. Number 5 is to find tools to help you be more effective and more efficient as you're building your business. Okay. And so for me, that was finding time management tools. That was finding project management tools. That was me finding all these different things that would help make my life easier. Like I am a pro with my calendar. I do not play when it comes to my time. I had this Facebook Live scheduled for 30 minutes that I just went over, but I had this scheduled on my calendar. So not only is it time management, but finding the tools that help make your life a little bit easier, especially when you're building a business on the side. So that looked like for me when I was still working full-time in corporate America, knowing, hey, Janelle, when I was still building in corporate America, when I did have free time, scheduling consultations with people, you know, on my work break, on my lunch break, or, you know, when I got off work, like having tools that, you know, were scheduled around my time. And that really helped me to build my side hustle from the ground up. Okay. And then the last thing that I'll say before I get off, because y'all know I didn't went off, and if you're listening to this in the middle, I promise you, you need to go back and listen to the beginning when I first started, because I just went on a whole rant that I didn't even know I was going to go on, but just talking about the importance of not comparing your journey to other people's when you're building a business, especially when it's an idea that God gave you and not just you doing something because you think you need to do it, okay? So number 6 is that you need to invest. Okay. I talked a little bit about that earlier on when I talked about me going on my work hibernation, where I literally did not spend a dime unless it was investing in my business. And for me, when I was in my side hustle, when I was in my full-time job, I saw my full-time job as a funder or as an investor of my other things. So yes, I was raising money and getting money, and I was using money that I was getting from my full-time job to really fuel my true passions. And so you have to be willing to make that investment. So if you find yourself always going out, maybe you're the person that's always buying a bottle at the club. Maybe you're the person that's always, eating out. Maybe you're the person that always got, a new pair of heels or Jordans or whatever it is that you're doing and you're spending your money on. I would say take a few steps back and figure out how you can actually invest that money into your business so that you can grow. One of the things that I would have loved to have done before I did it towards the end of me being in corporate was I invested in a coach or a consultant. But prior to that, I invested in training. So I did trainings on Facebook ads. I did trainings on, how to do Instagram, Facebook and Instagram ads, how to do SEO. I did all these trainings that I could. I invested in myself so that I could learn and build my business beyond just, where it was now. And so I really encourage you guys to work on investing in your business financially, but investing in your idea to get to learn more information. One of the things I hate about the fact that we live in this society where everything is available at your fingertips on Google. Yes, everything is available, but it's really easy to get lost in the sauce when you're Googling stuff. You find all these different people that have all these different approaches to business and entrepreneurship, and you just end up lost and confused and stressed out. And I remember looking and just being like, this is too much. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, I literally have no idea what I should exactly what I should be doing right now at this point in time, because I just didn't know. And there was so much information out there and everybody had a different approach and it all felt so foreign to me. And so one of the important things is to invest in, in paying for resources and paying for people. And I always say, do your research before you financially invest in anybody, because I made a terrible mistake with that for myself. But it's really important to invest in yourself and know that, whatever information that someone has for you that you can't necessarily get on your own, it is valuable. And I get a lot of times of where people are like, I don't understand why this person is charging me this much just to learn XYZ. And it's like, because it took them time and years and effort to learn that very thing that you want them to share with you for free. Like, that's not cool. There's a such thing as intellectual property, and there's a such thing as understanding that the information that people have is not just free because it took them time to learn it. And they have methods that they've learned worked for them, but it may have taken them 8 years. A perfect example, I spoke with a woman last week. She wrote a book in 2008 and she wanted to publish it. And she kept working with publishers to try to get this book published. And it literally just everybody kept turning her down. Everybody kept turning her down. Back in 2008, self-publishing wasn't super popular or anything. So she literally had no idea what she was doing. So she ended up actually self-publishing her book because nobody published her book, right, y'all? So let me tell y'all, I love stories like this. She never published her book until 8 years later. She self-published her own book. Not only did she self-publish her own book and none of the major corporate or the publishers wanted to work with her at the time, but she's now in Target, Barnes and Noble. She's not just on Amazon, y'all. She everywhere, okay? And she literally has done that, but it took her 8 years to figure out how to do that on her own. And people be emailing her and inboxing her hey, how do I publish my own book? You want what took me 8 years in a minute in an email? No, ma'am. Absolutely not. Okay. And so one of the things that you have to realize is that if you want to get somewhere, much quicker, or that you've never been, you have to learn to invest in yourself. Whether it's investing in a book that you need to read, investing in, someone's services, investing in some type of content that is going to help you get to where you want to go that you ain't never been before. Okay. So it's really, 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 really important to know that, yeah, it may feel uncomfortable and kind of against like what you think, but you got to spend some money to get where you want to go. You have to invest in yourself. So, and there's a bunch of workshops that you can take that are $40. You know, Udemy has a whole bunch of courses that you can take about different topics so that you can learn, but you need to invest in yourself, okay? And stop thinking that people are just supposed to give you stuff for free, okay? What took them years to fight for and learn about, okay? All right, so that's what I've got to say. I'm really excited just because this was such a great live, and I love you guys. I love you guys. For the ones who came on now, definitely go back and watch it. But if you are in any way interested in figuring out how to build your business from the ground up, really figuring out how to, you know, a lot of my clients, they just come to me like, hey, you know, I know what I want to do, but I don't know where to start. I don't know where to begin. I don't know how to get to where I want to go. Definitely hit me up. Dang, I just got a notification on my phone and my brain went blank. But make sure that you hit me up. If you're interested in working with me, head over to CandaceJunée.com/let's work, because that is the best way to get in touch with me, and I do free consultation. So all you have to do is apply to work with me, and then we'll do a consultation to see if it's a good fit, and we'll go from there. But I'm really, 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 like I said, passionate about helping people that are invested in people and building the kingdom, okay? And y'all know how to spell my name, Candace Junée. Just look at my Instagram, CandaceJunée.com/let's work, because that's that. And like I said, even if what was on here, oh, thank you, Lydia. One of my clients, Lydia, said, Candace is life. Her classes are amazing. Thank you. I love you, and I appreciate that. Other than that, but I'm really passionate about helping people that really want to help people and want to impact lives. And even deeper than that, I'm passionate about breaking generational curses, not just financially, but generational curses of fear of the future, of just feeling like you can't do, like, I don't like none of that, because a lot of us are conditioned to believe that the jobs that we're on and these, you know, full-time jobs that give you good benefits and all that stuff, that's the end all be all, and that we don't deserve more. But I want to tell you that you not only deserve more, but it's what God is calling you to. I believe that there are so many entrepreneurs that God has called to entrepreneurship, but they do not choose because they are afraid, and they are afraid of not having that secure income. But I want to tell you that leaving my full-time job was hands down the best decision that I ever made as an adult, other than giving my life to the Lord and recommitting my life to the Lord full time, okay? And literally one of the best decisions I could have ever made, because I remember looking back, like, child, I could cry about this, but I'm not, okay? But I just remember looking back and really feeling like, you know, or looking back recently and being like, wow, like, I've come a long way. And, you know, this journey has been really difficult, you know, since quitting my full-time job, but it also has been so rewarding. It's nothing like being able to walk into rooms and know, especially when I'm speaking, that, you know, women are in the room crying when I speak from my story, from me, you know, like, and I feel like that's what's happening, is like, you know, generational curses are being broken just because I decide to open my mouth. And I think that that's one of the really big reasons why that's number one, why I even have an application to work with me, because I don't want to work with everybody. I just don't. I want to work with people who are really, that they are in the right mindset to be able to break these generational curses, that are actually going to do the work that I give them, and that are, you know, really invested in changing people's lives. And I think for me, when I first got started, like, I have a really crazy story that it's too late for me to share this with you guys now, but I could not imagine, you know, not saying yes to what God told me to do. And yeah, I'm trying not to cry, but like, God is just so faithful. He's literally been so faithful to me, like, this entire time of quitting my job. And, you know, when, like, the Bible says that God's anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime. And I will take his favor over anything else any day, y'all. Like all day, every day. Why? Because God's favor can take you places where like finances can't. And I've been in situations, you know, as an entrepreneur, just trying to figure out, you know, how things were going to work out. And God has literally been there every step of the way. And honestly, like, I don't want to work with nobody who ain't about, you know, like who I can't feel like I'm pouring into and they're taking what God has given me for granted. Like the Bible tells you not to cast your pearls amongst swine, amongst pigs. Why? Because what God has given you and the gifts that God has given you is not for everybody. And I want to work with those people that know that and that value that and that value that what they have to give is something so much bigger and better than what anybody in their family has ever seen before. So I'm really big about breaking generational curses. So if you about that life, hit me up. Okay, I gotta go. I've got a class that is starting in a little bit. I know I was only supposed to be on here for 30 minutes, but I just wanted to pour out my heart to you guys. And I love y'all. Next time I go live, make sure y'all hop on. I really appreciate you guys doing this. The other thing is that I am going to be going live later this week, and I haven't yet picked a topic. So it's a free-for-all at this point. So if you have something specific that you want me to talk about, please just send me a personal message either on Facebook or on Instagram and let me know what you want me to talk about. And even if I don't talk about it this week, I can plan to talk about it in one of the future lives that I do. But I love you guys. I thank you guys so much. You guys made my first Facebook Live in a very long time. Very exciting for me. And like I said, I love you guys. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your night. Bye, Facebook.